Joints that are the fibrous, cartilaginous, hardly move, and some like a connections of two pubis bone that don't move at all. When you are learning how to draw, pay attention to the synovial joint. Keep your thought away from the pubis bones. If you know where the hinge joint is on your foot, you know that it brought this and this. For example, when you are standing on your toes, you can see it will do this like a movement. We need to know the position of hinge joint to make the squash and the stretch. It is the real thing. Synovial joint. There are the six type of the synovial joint. You can see your shoulder joints and your rib cage. It's move in all direction because have different shape. The six type of joint that we discuss in this. For example, hinge joint, pivot joint, ball socket joint, ellipsoid joint, and saddle joint, and the last one is the plane joint. These joints are different in shape and they have different movement. Now, the hinge joint. Hinge joint is a very simple joint. It move only in one axis. It move only in one plane like this. It does not allow the movement of the joint in this way and in this way. In the hinge joint, the head of the one bone is wrapped around the head of another bone. It makes them more stable in the movement and rotation. It does the flexes and some sort of extension. So, there is example. The best example of hinge joint is the elbow joint, and it allows the flexes and extensions. Flexes and extension. Next one is the pivot joint. Pivot joint allows rotation only one axis. However, it rotates along a long axis. A cylindrical bone fit into the ring of the bone and the ligament like a radio-ulnar joint. You can see just below the elbow joint, the cap of radius bone fit nicely into the notch of the ulnar bone. And ligament complete the ring, holding the bone in place and allow the radius only to rotate inside of it. Result of the forearm is what we call the pronation and the supinations. During the pronation, the base of radius ulna rotate over and around the head of ulna. So, the ulna stays relatively still. Remember, the hinge joint at the elbow prevent the ulna from twisting. So all the twisting happening at the radius. You can see this. By the way, the distal joint of ulna and the radius also a pivot joint. Ball and socket joint. The ball and socket joint is companion of all the joint. Ball and socket joint, its structure is just like how it sound, a ball inside a socket. The simple and effective structure allow it to move in all axes, fluxes, extensions. So, the abduction, adductions, rotations, and circumductions. The two ball and the socket joint are present in body at hip and the shoulders. The two shoulder joint has smaller socket. It gives greater range of motion, but the little amount of the stability. So maybe that's why dislocated shoulder is so common. Oh. The next one is the ellipsoid joint, how its ligament is oval shape prevent rotation. So, but it still have ability to rotate on two axes which allow the flexes and extensions, abductions, adductions, and circumductions. Circumduction is just like the combination of the other in circular motion. The ball and the oval head also slide inside the socket. When it rotates along the wider plane, you can see how it's pop out too much from the socket. So slide in back and forth. A great example of ellipsoid joint is the wrist joint, and that is the radio joints. The group of the carpal bone rotate inside socket of the radius. The next is saddle. The saddle joint is similar to the ellipsoid but rotation limited mostly because of bone structures. The structure of saddle is very interesting. Both bones have concave and the convex surfaces. Convex means the surface stick out like a hill. Concave means the surface curve in like a hole or the cave. The convex plane of the one fit on the convex plane of other. It's like a 3D or cowboy on the horse. The saddle makes the bottom piece of the cowboy's legs make the top piece. The leg of top piece which wrap around the body and the bottom piece allowed a rotate in this way. The body of top piece can glide inside legs bottom. It's a unique structure allow the flux extension, abduct, adduct, and the last word circumduct. It's a very slightly rotation. The example of saddle joint of the body is the metacarpal joint or the thumb joint. The last one is a plane joint. Finally, not interesting as the other but deserves some of our love anyhow. It's basically two flat surface, one on top to the other. These surface can glide and rotate. Usually it's come in group like the carpals of our hand and the tarsal of the foot. This is the last type of our joint. Actually, the ligament hold these bone together. They allow some rotations. Another plane that our cervical bones is also considered as the plane. Right now, it is the end of our lecture.